The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 14, The Balance of Terror. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Club Members Area movie review, TV show review. We're talking Star Trek, the original series. Very excited to be here today. Also here, the barbarian space Viking, Matt Vader.
Hi.
What's up?
I'm here.
Why are you grumpy?
I don't know.
He's so grumpy.
He's so grumpy today. We just did a skit a minute ago and he like flipped out.
I did not flip out.
He's also getting over the coronavirus.
The coof.
Yeah.
Is that the first time for you?
Yeah.
Oh, newbie.
It was weak. It's some weak ass shit.
Yeah, it is. It's getting weaker, I think. Which is
know,
good, right?
something.
Don't fucking incite it.
This is weak.
Well, I see.
I'm not going to say anymore because
COVID's like, hold my beer, son.
I'll probably get us canceled if I say any more about it. So, you know.
Is it still a hot button topic? I think.
Oh,
people
you
are
know
over it.
how
Who
our
knows?
Google overlords think about anything other than what toes their
Yeah.
company line. So, might as well just not talk about it at all.
Also here, Jude.
Hello.
Hello. So, second episode that you've ever watched, right? Or did you keep watching after the last one?
No, I think I quit. I watched this and I didn't watch any more Star
Okay.
Trek after this. Yeah.
Well, no, like you watched episodes 2, 3.
Oh, from the first episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first one and then I think I watched the next 3.
Are you still having as much fun?
I didn't like this as nearly as much as I liked the first episode.
Takes itself very seriously, huh?
It's not sexy at all.
I don't know. Yeoman, what's her name? Yeoman, whatever. Captain Kirk's Yeoman.
Can't even remember her name.
Rand.
Thank you, Rand.
Oh yeah, Rand.
She showed up.
She walks by a couple of times.
With,
But she-
with the hairdo.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what she does during most of the series.
She
just
came
walks
on.
by.
She came onto the bridge just to give the captain a hug
Yeah.
and let him know that she was scared.
And then
She also made him a sandwich.
Yeah. Then she was gonna like get busy, and Bones came in and cock blocked him.
Yeah.
It was you know. Oh wow.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Matthew Kadish is also here. Welcome, sir.
So this is my all-time favorite episode of original Trek.
Mm.
I'm very excited to get to talk to about it. It's basically Run Silent, Run Deep, but with the Star Trek crew involved. And I just love this episode. It's so tension-filled, and it's a great kind of game of cat and mouse between Kirk and Sarek. I know it's not Sarek, but the guy who plays Sarek, Spock's father. And it was just it's an episode that I think is probably like the pinnacle of good, like Star Trek sci-fi.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to talk about it.
So Alex, you picked this episode, right?
I did, yeah.
Why?
A couple reasons. I think it's one of the pinnacle, like Kadish said, it's one of the best as far as like writing and the tension and just like that old school feel that Gene Roddenberry brought to the original series when it came to like the old submarine movies and stuff like that. Very much in the same vein, like Hunt for Red October type stuff. And that, because of the limited technology that they had in the 60s, they were able to use these long kind of silent filled tension areas where they're just sitting still and they're just like pinging off of each other with their radar and trying to find out where the other one is. That feels very much like a submarine movie to me.
Okay.
And I thought, you know, the Romulans, this is the first time we ever see Romulans. So I thought that was kind of an important thing because the Romulans are a big part of Trek forever. From now up until the new shows.
They look exactly like
Yeah,
Vulcans in
they do.
in this early edition.
Well, they're supposed to.
Yeah, they're supposed to be a cousin of the Vulcans. Later on, they make they have like
They get a little bit more different later on.
they get like forehead ridges and stuff like that later on in the movies, like Next Generation and stuff like that. But they're always very, very similar.
Yeah, but the really cool thing about this episode is like we get to see peak Captain Kirk. Like this is him like. Remember in Wrath of Khan where he's like in the nebula and he's like hunting down Khan and it's like a game of cat and mouse. It's like this is the episode that primes the pump for stuff like that where he's like at his best from a tactical point of view. And we see like how he matches wits with like the Romulan commander. And it's just so good. I get chills talking about it.
It's cool. It is. It's really cool. I mean, it's not like the most action-packed episode, but it has great tension. It shows off Kirk's ability to actually be a captain. It also shows him being a little bit vulnerable a couple of times where he's like talking with Bones and he's like, dude, if I fuck up, we're all dead. He's like, this is a lot on my shoulders right now. I'm kind of freaking out. But he doesn't let anybody else know that. Like Bones is the only person he shows any kind of vulnerability to.
And Bones has a great response to that fear. It's one of the classic Dr. McCoy, like, like they're there, pal.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be fine. What are you giving me these stank faces for? What's going on over here?
Because I'm stanky today.
You are stanky today.
Vader, did you like this episode?
I find it funny that this is like his favorite episode of all time and this stuff, because I actually kind of think this episode's boring. It's not my favorite. It's far from my favorite episode of this show.
Why do you think it's boring?
Because it is.
Just not enough happens?
It's like you just said, we're going to sit there and Kirk's going to go, what's going on
It's
over there?
tension building.
There's no tension here. I never felt any tension. And it's, the laser beams go pew, pew, pew. And they go, and then everybody shakes the table and you're all, oh shit. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part of the show is when they tilt the camera and Uhura throws herself against the wall.
Sell it, man.
It's just, that's the kind of stuff that's fun about Star Trek for me. As far as the story goes, it's not for me. I'd rather watch, them run around the planet chasing
aliens and shit.
Chasing
sexy salt vampires,
Easter bunnies,
Easter bunnies and little girls
and shit,
and finding guns under rocks and long lost loves. And
so
coolers,
you like the Shatner roll episodes. Like I'm gonna do a random roll for no reason.
yeah, those are fun.
This doesn't have that.
When you said it, like you're viewing it in the same way that you view the Hunt for Red October, that kind of connected it a little bit more for me, because I remember how much you loved that. And for me, that was really boring too. So it kind of made sense, like why you liked this episode so much, and why it really didn't connect for me.
Well, this episode's really more of a military thriller episode where like basically it's military tactics being employed in space, and you have like the two dueling commanders who are like equally matched, and you're just kind of like, ooh, what are they going to do next? And I like Hunt for October is one of my all-time favorite movies too, and so like it makes sense. Me and Alex like this episode so much.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of funny. I feel like they forgot there was another dimension in space combat. Because I felt like they were playing the thing on this level,
right?
When like in a
head-on battle.
No, but like in Wrath of Khan, they incorporate you're in space. You can be below.
Go anywhere. Yeah.
The XYZ X.
Yeah. This one, it was like, go forward, go back. Oh, was he closer? I don't know. So it was just kind of funny.
Space travel is like a ball of yarn.
It was, yeah, it is. I just that kind of made me laugh a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. Because I don't think they really thought about it like that in the 60s.
Right.
Because the moon landing hadn't happened yet, right? That was 69. So this is before that.
Right before that, yeah.
So I think their knowledge of
if it ever really happened.
Somebody call Stanley Kubrick. We never did get a straight answer from Adam Baldwin about that. Just putting that on the table.
Don't mention that to Tom when he comes over later. It's his favorite conspiracy to talk about.
I know, it's ridiculous.
What
was I going to say? I don't know. I kept wanting somebody in this show to just be like, one ping only. Like I was like, yes, give me something about I love the cat and mouse aspect to it. I love that Kirk was nervous about this. Like in this episode, you could tell he was like, oh God, I can't fuck this up. I don't know why. Kirk is always so cocky. Like he knows everything. He gets the thing done. He's freaking Captain Kirk, for Christ's sake. This is one of the episodes where I was like, he doesn't always have all the answers, and he's nervous about it. So I like that.
That Romulan is like, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And
was that 5 lasers or 6?
One of the cool things about this episode is that we're introduced to cloaking technology in this episode, and so like they can't see the Romulan ship. But there's a great scene where like the Romulan commander, to make it appear like his ship has been destroyed, he puts out all this refuse and some bodies of like people he cares about who died after getting hit. And it was to throw Kirk off. And Kirk's like, there's something wrong here. His instincts were like taken over. And he's like, I think that this is like a trick. And it's just like little things like that in this episode that like really like get my engine revving.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's so cool.
Doesn't Spock just call bullshit on it immediately?
Yeah, because he's looking through he's looking through the sensors.
Not enough debris.
A ship that size would leave more debris, sir. And he's like, this is bullshit.
Well, another interesting aspect about this episode is the bigotry that the crew has towards Spock.
Yeah.
Because like they're like, oh, in the Romulan Earth Wars, like my ancestors died, and like the Vulcans are an offshoot of the Romulans,
right.
And so like I don't trust this guy. And he ends up saving the day.
Yeah, that's their big heavy-handed
Heavy-handed
moral
messaging.
of the week.
So this
It's like racism bad. Okay, shouldn't make fun of people because they're different. They might save your life someday.
Well,
it's like woo.
There's a couple of parallels I had to this, and I was wondering which one the show was leaning on, because obviously in '66 this would have more relevance towards like the communism in the '50s, right, where everybody was like on the hunt for the commies.
Oh, this is absolutely the Americans versus those.
Yeah, but the other thing I was thinking too is
Russians.
It's a very similar lesson when you think about like the Japanese Americans during World War II, where like they got put in like camps because they didn't trust them because they were Japanese heritage. I think there was a little bit of message about that in this episode as well. So I thought it was kind of. Yeah.
And it was funny seeing like the scenes where Kirk's just like, put your bigotry aside.
Yeah. No, not subtle at all.
And it's funny because like in Star Trek Next Generation and stuff like that, they were very proud of the fact that they're like post like bigotry, post racial, post money, like everything. And in these early episodes, you're just like, no, none of that.
I'd rather be dead than red.
Basically.
I would still to this day. Hell yeah. Better red than dead, baby.
Better red than dead?
Or better dead than red. Yeah.
Fuck that one up.
Figure out your moral standing.
COVID. Sorry. COVID's fucked my brain.
He's a Russian spy.
Hello, comrade. How are
you gave yourself away.
Sorry.
The gig is up. Oh, man.
They're coming for you.
They're coming for you. Get your coat and your hat. It's going to be cold where you're going.
I don't know. That might actually improve our standing with YouTube.
All right, guys, before we dive into this episode scene by scene, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you guys would like to download a fun mobile game and play it with us salty nerds, go to saltynerd.com/DC and download Dragon Champions. It's our favorite mobile game over here. We're all playing it right now. We even have a guild that you guys can join that is ran by one of our patrons. Shout out to JT. If you guys want to download this game, you can type in the promo code SALTY in the promo code area, and it gives you a little boost, a little leg up on the rest of the competition. Gives you some points, a new character, some really cool stuff to help you along your way. And like I said, once you get to that level 20, then you can join our guild. It's a lot of fun. We do raids every once in a while and have a good time. And you get a lot of help. If you guys actually join our Discord, we have a chat room dedicated to Dragon Champions where everybody kind of helps each other out with how to defeat different bosses and how to level up properly and how to utilize your characters at the best ability. So check it out, saltynerd.com/DC, download Dragon Champions and type in salty.
Vader.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Mr. Tickle Trunk for hitting level 80.
You hit level 80?
I was just going to ask with you being down with COVID.
No,
did you top out? You didn't?
No. I did not.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just fuck off just for the rest of the day. When are you leaving? Vader, are you enjoying your game? Fuck you. You just...
Those words never came out of my mouth.
Jude, you ignorant slut. Fuck you.
You daft cow.
You daft cow, Jude. Don't ask me about games.
All right, guys, without further ado, we're going to dive into Balance of Terror. Take it away, Kadish.
All right. Balance of Terror, Season 1, Episode 14. Captain James T. Kirk is officiating a wedding between two crew members, Angela Martine and Robert Tomlinson, when suddenly a red alert interrupts the ceremony, followed by a request for Captain Kirk to report to the bridge. Kirk learns that Earth Outpost 4 is under attack as everyone runs to battle stations. The USS Enterprise investigates in the vicinity of the Romulan neutral zone, where an unknown assailant is methodically destroying each of the Earth outposts bordering the zone. Spock explains to the crew that the neutral zone was established after the Earth-Romulan War over a century ago. Neither race has had contact with the other since that time, and neither side knows what the other looks like. Kirk then tells the crew that while self-defense is permitted, they are forbidden by Starfleet Command's orders to violate the neutral zone. The Enterprise and its crew are to be considered expendable.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Red alert. Red alert.
Yeah.
Red alert.
Do you guys know anything about the history of the Romulans in this show, as far as like where like it says, a century ago we had this war and we created this neutral zone? Is this the first time we've ever seen any of that mentioned? Or
yes, this is the first time they've established anything about the Romulans.
Okay, all right. I was wondering if like maybe there's some
This
comic
was the introduction to
or maybe even in that animated series, whether or not they talked about it very much.
that was all after this.
It was all after this.
Yeah, you got to remember this is the first season.
Yeah.
So everything that they're introducing in this season is like brand new.
I wonder who was in charge of like creating that
Gene Roddenberry.
Gene Roddenberry.
Was it all his idea? Didn't he have like
he was pretty much a control freak about a lot of this content, wasn't he?
Well, he had a team of writers that he worked closely with on the first season, and I think a lot of this stuff can be contributed to Roddenberry and his vision, but like it was a situation where the writers was like, hey, like here's an idea that I want to do, and he's like, yeah, go for it.
There's a fantastic documentary out there where I think they talk about the first season of this show and the first season of Next Generation or something. You know remember what it's called, Matt?
Something on the Bridge.
Well, Chaos on the Bridge was about the first season of the Next Generation.
Yeah, but they talk about a lot of the first season of this and that too.
Yeah,
wasn't that his kid, Gene Roddenberry's kid, did that?
We actually did a review of that documentary during our Star Trek week.
Oh, we did. Yeah,
it was good.
That's right. I don't know. This is cool. It's just a cool setup. I like the world building of it's kind of creating the universe that the Trek explores, and it gives it a little bit of history. Like it's not just brand new. Like things happened a long time ago.
And I also like how we start off this episode with one of the more mundane duties of Starfleet captain, which is basically officiating this wedding between crew members.
Boring as hell.
They're all wearing their uniform.
I was like, what's she wearing?
It's just a uniform.
She's just got like a thing on her head.
Yeah, I
Poor
wonder,
girl,
because there's other weddings.
That was a Starfleet Vegas wedding.
Yeah,
it's like let's just get this shit over with.
Yeah,
and go back to work. Okay.
I like the relationship of the two crewmen that were getting married though, because they have a couple of moments together throughout this episode, and they seemed like a nice couple.
They did.
I was like, it's kind of a bummer. What happened
to
him?
Your really shitty wedding got canceled.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any better than that.
He's like, I'm still your superior officer, so get to work, lady.
That's cute.
You
also, go make me a sandwich.
Yeah. And you kind of knew one of them was going to die. So
well, yeah, they got that vibe
immediately.
Yeah. I don't know if just because we've watched a lot of content, if we kind of understand like what they're setting up, or like in the 60s, if they were like,
I've seen movies, I know how it works.
It's like anybody who's like in a good spot right now is gonna be terrible by the end of this episode. Yeah. All right, continue on, Mr. Kadish.
All right. Lieutenant Stiles assumes the attacking vessel is Romulan, but Kirk points out that after a century, no one would know what a Romulan ship looks like. Stiles shares his knowledge of Romulan ship markings, like birds of prey, as a number of his relatives died in the Earth-Romulan War. Earth Outposts 2 and 3 are found to be destroyed, and the Enterprise briefly contacts Outpost 4. The sole survivor of Outpost 4, Commander Hansen, describes a powerful blast of energy from a ship they couldn't track and the destruction of Outpost 8. He then reports that the ship has reappeared. A view relayed from the Outpost sensor shows that the ship is firing, and then the viewing screen goes blank. Spock's sensors detect a moving object, but nothing is visible on the screen. He suggests that the Romulans have some sort of invisibility shield.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think it's funny that Stiles is still so worked up
over
his great uncle Cletus getting killed in the great Romulan War from 100+ years ago.
That's like me getting really upset with the British people for killing my great grandfather or great great grandfather for being in the Revolutionary War. Yeah. Like, I guess
man, I really hate those people in Georgia, like because they killed my great great uncle George in the Civil War. Yeah, it's like, get out of here.
Well, if you think about it, so like it was 100 years ago, and so like his grandparents could have.
It's like 2 generations, right? Yeah. So it's his father's father,
2 generations. It's more than 2 generations.
Not necessarily.
A generation's like every 20 years.
My grandparents were born in the 1930s.
That's like 5 or 6 generations.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Dude, 1930s, my grandmother was born. That's 100 years ago.
Well, you guys must be like having kids when you're 45 years old then.
Don't judge me. Don't judge my family. I don't think it's that far back. It's your grandfather's great-grandparents, maybe. Yeah. I mean, in this Trek universe, people probably live a little bit longer than 45 years. So,
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe he really is salty about it.
Silly.
The story's been passed down from generation to generation.
He heard horror stories about the Romulans when he was growing up. That's how they put him to bed. Don't get up in the middle of the night.
Romulans are gonna get you.
The Romulans are gonna get you, kid.
I get what you're saying.
All right,
but it's okay.
Freaking grunch over there.
Not grumpy at all.
This is Vader's Rona personality.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
Story must be like, get out of the house.
She was there with me
This
too.
isn't Vader anymore. This is Vladimir Vader.
You got to understand that he was quarantined to his upstairs for like a week, something like that.
With my wife.
So he's understandably grumpy right now.
All right. I'll lay off you. I'll lay off you a little bit.
You would think he wouldn't try to wear out his welcome once he got out of the house.
Yeah,
he walks in like he's mad at us.
I'm not mad at anybody.
Yeah, you're acting like someone killed
pissing
your
me off.
ancestors 100 years ago.
You don't fucking know. We have kids every 50 years in my family. All right.
He's like, fuck you guys. I'm going to play Dragon Champion.
Yeah.
Star Trek sucks. Fuck this show. Fucking Balance of Terror. How come Spock's dad's a Romulan?
He looked good in the makeup. They just
Fucking half breed. Whatever.
leave your bigotry on your crew, sir. Did we get to that part yet?
Not yet.
Okay, continue on. I want to talk about
Styles is unjustifiably angry at Vulcans.
Actually, that was this part.
that. That was this part. Okay, yeah.
Styles was
So I
like,
just
Goddamn Styles.
fucking that bigot.
Fucking racist piece of shit.
So I just want to bring this up because we give modern Trek a lot of shit for just being like as subtle as a brick through a window.
Yeah.
With their freaking
It's
messaging.
like, why is that guy half black and half white and the other one half white and half black? What?
Oh.
It doesn't make any sense.
Like, I think it's funny because I knew this was going to happen. And I figured, once we talk about the original Trek show, we're going to have to talk about its messaging because, like, this was not subtle. Like, there was no subtlety about this at all. Captain Kirk literally bends down, turns the dude's chair around to face him and says, leave your bigotry in your cabin.
I thought he was going to straddle him.
I was like,
That's when I started getting into the episode. And then I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, this is Kirk we're talking about.
But anyway, I just think it's interesting. What do you guys think about the messaging in this versus like modern Trek, Strange New Worlds or something like that? Like,
well, the difference here, so like it's a subplot, right? It's not the main thrust of the episode, and they deal with it very quickly. And then by the end of the episode, Styles is like, "I was wrong,"
Right.
And so like there's a little moralistic message there, but like it's not like the main focus of the episode. Which I think the difference is that modern day shows would make the political message the entire focus of the episode,
Yeah,
and
it's much more
the space
heavy-handed.
adventure would be like a side plot to it.
yeah, the space adventure is the backdrop that this episode is painted on, but the episode is all about the message.
Right.
Yeah,
This is the opposite.
I also really love like how they lay out, here's the neutral zone, here are like the Earth outpost, like here's the rules. Like we can't cross into the neutral zone or else we'll start a war and we're like expendable and all this other stuff. Like they set up the stage for the adventure like very well in this episode.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting because I also wonder, like, in our era right now, we're watching these TV shows and people are just raw to no end with social media and just getting bombarded with political stuff every single day. You open Twitter, it's all freaking political. You open Instagram, it's all political, whatever. They didn't have that kind of stuff back then. So I wonder if there's somebody who was in their 40s or 50s who might have, been in the army in the 50s and had deal with Russia and stuff like that.
When this came out, they were only 20 years out from World War II.
Yeah. And that goes to the Japanese as well.
Yeah.
Like if there's somebody who's like watching this show, who's in their 40s, they fought in World War II or whatever. And they're like, oh man, I wonder if it was raw to them, if it was like blatant to them.
Just to put that in perspective, they're about as far out from World War II when this came out as we are from 9/11. It's about the same amount of time, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because 9/11 is still very pervasive in our society. We're still reeling from the ramifications of that day in the way we deal with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you think about it. It wasn't that long ago. So yeah, I get it.
I just wonder, like, if you get some guy who's, let's just say he was at Pearl Harbor during the bombing, right? He was there. He lost friends.
Yeah.
And then he goes back home, he lives his life, and a Japanese American guy moves in next door.
Oh no.
Like, he's going to be a little raw about that.
Absolutely.
And he watches this episode And I can imagine somebody being like, fucking, why are they freaking pounding me over the head with this message?
And then after he's done watching the episode, he's like, you know what?
Well,
My
you know what?
neighbor's okay.
My neighbor's a cool guy.
Well, I mean, there are people who weren't even alive during World War II, and they keep accusing people of being Nazis. Nowadays, so.
It's like, you don't know Nazis, bro.
I just like to put that kind of in perspective.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting idea, but we can move on from that. We don't have to dwell on it all day. Go
Well,
ahead, Kate.
that's what Star Trek
Yeah.
wants you to talk about. That's
Yeah.
what these shows do. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Kate, just continue on.
All right. Since the Romulan ship seems to be in no hurry, Kirk theorizes that it may not be aware of the Enterprise. Spock then reports that the ship is heading back toward the neutral zone. Despite objections from Styles, Kirk orders a parallel course instead of an intercept course. By matching the unknown ship's course and speed, he hopes to make the Enterprise seem like an echo. Under no circumstances is the Enterprise to enter the Romulan neutral zone without a direct order from Kirk. Styles points out that there could be Romulan spies on board the Enterprise, and Sulu recommends maintaining a security alert. Uhura picks up a communications signal through which Spock is able to obtain a view of the Romulan ship's interior, providing the Federation their first visuals of the Romulans. Styles notices that the Romulans captain's physical resemblance is similar to Spock's.
I call complete bullshit on this. I'm sorry.
So they don't have a camera in their bridge?
But what this gets me like, okay, so every starship in general in this universe has a camera so you can FaceTime with people, right? Over their screen. That's fine. What gets me is that's what it is.
We have FaceTime with that ship over there. Get the Android out. The Google or no,
the Apple.
Skype.
The Apple.
Get Skype.
The Romulan ship has Skype. We have FaceTime.
We can't communicate. It's a different operating
I
system.
can see you, but I can't hear you. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Why are you all grainy? You have 5G?
You need to turn the camera.
My mom always goes, I can't hear you. Can you turn your volume up? I'm like, Mom, that's not how it works.
That's like something that Orville used to be able to do.
I can just see her. Captain, they're using Firefox. I can't do anything.
They have their pop-up blocker on, man.
Yeah, we're only equipped for Safari on the Enterprise.
Accept all cookies. Accept all push the.
There's a microphone on the bottom. Hit the Anyway, what I'm calling bullshit on is like it's for dramatic effects. So I understand why they did it. It's obviously just for the show, but the camera on the Romulans bridge, like shifts and zooms in on the bad guy and just hangs on him. And I'm like, do they have control of the camera? They could like zoom into the guy and get a good look at him.
It's like one of those live cams.
Yeah, it's so silly, dude.
This is the Enterprise. We have taken control of your camera.
Well, it's like when you're doing a live stream and the camera automatically cuts to whoever's speaking type thing.
I just thought it was kind of silly.
Honestly, though, that's kind of the fun stuff about these old shows.
Yeah.
Because they didn't think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah. It was just fun. I just thought it was funny. I'm like, man, that's such bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're going to tap in, like, secretly tap into the Romulans camera system, you'd think it would be like an overhead view of the bridge.
Yeah.
It'd just be like some random security camera. It's like all grainy and fucked up. But no, it's like perfectly 4K zoom into the main bad guy's
what
face.
I think about is like I immediately start thinking of stuff. Now, wait a second. Now, in Wrath of Khan, when they wanted to see each other on the bridge and to lower each other's shields and stuff, they had to like do a special code and do all this stuff, you know. And
well, maybe that's because of this. They realized like, it was way too easy to hack into those guys'
Well,
cameras.
also, I'm thinking like if they can do that, can they just listen in on what they're strategizing? You know,
They lost them though, right? Like once they turned their cloak on or something like that, they couldn't see the camera feed anymore.
well, the cloak was already on at this point.
Oh, it was, yeah. So yeah, that is.
they were playing real fast and loose with cloaking technology at this point. It was the first time.
It was a cloaking shield.
Yeah, I do like. There's a minute. We'll get to it in a little bit in the episode, but there's a turning point for Kirk, and I loved it when he was like, "We know their weakness." Ah,
It's like we know their general area. Just fire the lasers.
Yeah.
In that general direction.
Oh no!
Damn it! It's like, you know,
The lasers blew up.
They were using lasers like depth charges.
Yeah.
It was funny. It's like, okay, use photon torpedoes at least.
At
guys.
least.
Come on.
That's essentially what these were.
No, they were laser
I
beams.
know they called phasers, but
We'll get there.
well, yeah, we'll figure it out. Just cut them a little slack. This is all brand new.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kate. Just continue on.
All right. As Uhura attempts to interpret the Romulan signals, Styles sarcastically suggests that he give the job to Spock. Kirk orders him to keep his bigotry to himself. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Romulan ship, the Romulan commander has noticed the Enterprise following them. He confers with the Centurion, one of his officers, on the ethics of their mission. He then rebukes and demotes another officer, Decius, for dispatching a subspace message in violation of orders for radio silence. The Centurion warns the commander that Decius has powerful friends. The commander quietly expresses distaste for the mission, but assures the Centurion of his devotion to his duty.
This guy really is Sean Connery from Red October, huh? It's kind of he's playing it by close to the chest. He doesn't trust his crew. Yeah, this episode's cool.
I'm trying to figure out who the allegory here, because I know we always said that the Klingons were an allegory for the Russians, but was the Romulans supposed to be the Russians as well, or were they like China?
They were the Japanese.
Japanese?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure it all out in my head. I haven't thought about it in a long time.
Oh,
so
I think when this episode came out in the 60s, it was probably more easier to understand what they were trying to say.
Yeah, like, I mean, this episode is basically an allegory for Pearl Harbor, right, where they attacked the Earth outpost.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep, they blow up the islands. Any other comments about this part of the episode?
I think O'Hara.
O'Hara?
O'Hara, the Scottish version.
It takes me a couple of tries to get there. O'Hara. I gotta get it in my mouth.
It's Uhura.
I think O'Hara.
Uhura.
O'Hare Airport? What is that?
That's why I'm getting it confused in my head. Yeah.
I'm not trying to make you
I
mad.
think O'Hara looks sexy as hell in this.
Oh, there's a straight ass shot.
I was just gonna say her skirt is like
Real short.
barely. It's working really hard to cover everything, and it's not always.
I don't
successful.
know. It was when Kirk leaves for the conference room and he tells Uhura to take over command, and she like spins her chair and gets up.
Yeah.
And it was like boom.
I was like, is she wearing pants under that?
I don't think she was.
There's some definite cheek leak going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this episode needed it because she's carrying the weight of all of the sexiness.
Yep.
In the whole episode.
She's the only one.
Yeah.
Kirk is very unsexy.
That poor bride isn't even sexy.
That's so sad. All right, continue on, Katie.
All right. In the Enterprise briefing room, the officers discuss their chances against the Romulan ship. Spock demonstrates the effect of the Romulan weapon on Outpost 4's protective shields, and Scotty reports that the Romulan ship's power is simple impulse. Styles urges an attack, arguing from history that running would guarantee war. Spock agrees, pointing out that Vulcan had begun to colonize space before giving up its warlike ways, and that if the Romulans are indeed descendant from the ancient Vulcans, they are more dangerous than Kirk might realize. After a moment, Kirk gives the order to attack, and the Enterprise heads into battle at red alert.
I freaking love this scene. Like, one of my favorite aspects of Captain Picard is he always has the conference room meetings where he gets all of his experts in line.
This is your Red October scene.
Yeah, this is like the planning sequence. But I love the way they show a good commander in Star Trek is like you have your expert, you have your weapons expert, you have your science expert, you have your history expert, you have your tactics guy. You sit down, and the captain isn't there going, this is what we're going to do. I'm the smartest person in the room. He asks everybody's opinion. Even the dude who he's like, don't be a bigot. He's like, no, this is the place to vent your concerns. Do it now. And the dude just goes off, and he took him seriously. And I really like that. I think that's a cool aspect of like how to be a good commander in Star Trek.
This is how I wish people fighting online would communicate with each other.
That's never going to happen, Jude. Never going to happen. I just think this is like one of the better moments of like a true captain, what they do. And I like that. I think it's a cool aspect. And I'm glad that Trek kind of like set the benchmark for that kind of thing.
And it's also interesting how Styles, who's like kind of set up to be like the bigot, he's like, we got to go fight these guys. If we run away, it's going to show weakness. And then Spock's like, yeah, he right.
Yeah,
he right.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. And everybody, I think they did a reaction shot. I think it might have been Bones or somebody who was like surprised that Spock said that. And he's like, oh shit, I didn't expect you to say like, let's go fight.
Well, if Spock thinks
so. Like Spock wants to go.
Well, Spock is a very logical dude.
Let's go throw hands. Let's do it.
It's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't McCoy actually object here where he was like, like we can't.
I think McCoy definitely is like I would rather not have bodies in my sick bay after this. Like
typical doctor response.
Like let's not
I get it.
Let's not kill people. So I understood his thing, and I like that.
I'm in the middle of a really good book, and I would rather get back to that.
Yeah.
I'm right in the middle of a good Rogan podcast right now.
I don't want to go to war.
I'm almost to level 80 on Dragon Champions. Can we maybe put this off?
I
got a raid to go to tonight.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that they didn't make Styles to just be like the outright bad guy this entire episode. Like, he has a point, and they gave him an opportunity to say his opinion, and he was right. So I just think it was really cool.
Yeah, they didn't make him just an evil bigot character. They gave him layers like a real human.
Yeah.
And I also like how they're setting up. It's like, okay, we're going into battle. Like, that's a big deal for like an exploration ship. Like this isn't something that we normally get on Star Trek, where it's like, okay, we're actually gonna like fight like another starship. You know,
have fun storming the Romulans.
Tell Beekeeper guys to get to their posts.
Yeah. Do you think it'll work? They don't stand a chance.
It would take a miracle.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. If you guys want access to the rest of this episode, head over to saltynerdclub.com and join up for the club membership. It's only $5 a month. You guys get a ton of extra content, plus all of our normal podcasts completely ad-free. We're talking about Star Trek, the original series, all month this month. We're having a ton of fun with it, and it's one of our best months so far. So if you're going to join up, now is the time. We'd love to have you in with us in our club members area. You guys also get special access in our Discord app. All right, before we get out of here, Matt Vader, where can people find you on the social medias?
You can find me at Matt Vader 74.
Did she just blow your mind? You guys pointed at the TV screen and then like lost your shit.
The fat cam is all over.
If he wasn't already pissed off about that.
Me off.
It's like an eye. It's just looking at you.
It's like the camera on the Romulans ship.
It was proving me wrong. It's like,
See? It does happen.
On the spaceship, I can just see they have their camera and it just like slumps over.
That's how that happens.
Do we have a shot of that so people know what we're talking about? There we go. All right.
I just glanced at the screen and I was like, "Mer?"
Fat cam. Yeah.
Matt Vader 74.
Yeah, you can find me at Matt Vader 74 and on the fat cam everywhere, I guess. So
just filling up the whole screen.
Don't rub it in, dude.
you fat son of a bitch.
He's gonna switch seats with you, and then you're gonna be all pissed
It's
off.
like the camera's being aggressive at him.
Suck it in.
All right, Jude, where can they find you at?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram and on TikTok.
All right, Matthew Kadish.
you can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter. Kadishbooks.com takes you to our Amazon page, and be sure to go to saltylist.com to sign up for our newsletter.
All right, everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this episode, comment below. What's your favorite episode of Trek? And that's it. Stay salty, everybody. Patrons, let's go.